Bridgerton Season 2 sure was a change of flavor and gave us lots of things to get used to, like the changing of the leading character. What do fans hope the show has learned so Season 3 will be absolutely fabulous? Is Season 3 going to deviate from the book's order? And Nicola Coughlan chats about filming Polin sex scenes in Bridgerton Season 3. All this and much more in this video. Let's start things off with Hannah Dodd taking over the role of Francesca Bridgerton. So far, Francesca Bridgerton hasn't seen much more screen time. So far, she's been portrayed as Ruby Stokes and only appeared in 2 episodes in Season 1. Though we got to see her a little more in Season 2, the sad decision to have the role recast had to be made. Showrunner Chris Dusan isn't afraid to say that he loves Francesca, but the reality is that they had lost Stokes midway through Season 2. There were forces beyond their control that ultimately led to the decision to bring the UK actress Hannah Dodd. No, it wasn't because there wasn't anything wrong with how Stokes portrayed the role. It's kind of the opposite. Stokes wasn't able to commit to any future seasons of Bridgerton because she has her own show to carry. We're talking about Lockwood & Co., of course. Stokes has a leading role in the upcoming Netflix original, which has effectively taken over her schedule. Luckily, fans are just as thrilled as Dodd herself about the recast and have welcomed her warmly on her Instagram. What will happen to the inside joke that was born out of Francesca's absence from the series so far, the Bridgerton community will have to see. The recast seems to signal that we're finally going to see some growth towards the season that will be all about Francesca. Next, let's talk Bridgerton's spin-off, Who Even Was Queen Charlotte? Obviously, the Bridgerton storylines are fiction. Exquisite fiction, but fiction nonetheless. But did you know that Queen Charlotte is actually based on a real individual? And not just that, Queen Charlotte isn't even part of the novels. She was added to the TV series, a decision that has proven to be so successful that her very own spin-off is in the works. Observant fans have spotted Golda Rosheuvel as Her Majesty herself, and other actors including Queen Charlotte's aide Brimsley, who played Hugh Sachs, filming what appeared to be a funeral scene in London. Unfortunately, the best we can give as far as a release date is concerned is still just a humble guess, which would be somewhere in early 2023. So what could we expect of the spin-off, knowing that it's based on the real Queen Charlotte? Well, Charlotte of Mecklenburg-Strelitz was a German noble who became Queen Consort to George III upon their marriage in 1761. As we've already seen in Bridgerton, King George III suffered several bouts of mental illness, which eventually became permanent. This made it impossible for the Queen to be around her husband. As the King's condition deteriorated, Queen Charlotte found refuge in a country estate called Fogmore House. So far, we've mostly seen the Queen indulge in her proclivity for society gossip, but in real life, she was also an amateur botanist and a passionate patron of music. It will be interesting to see how the new show will incorporate the more complex parts of the Queen's personality and life. Following, Jonathan Bailey forgot he was wearing his modesty thong. What looks like a hot, steamy sex bathtub scene looked more like a not-so-sexy water birth to Bridgerton actor Jonathan Bailey. For him, the experience he had to go through to deliver such a convincingly steamy scene was rather embarrassing, if not completely traumatizing. The scene has become a viral still from the series, which must only add to Bailey's feelings of unease. In an interview with the Los Angeles Times, Bailey opened up about his true feelings about that scene. In order to get those perfect shots, there was actually a camera between Bailey's legs and the water staring back at him, and all Bailey could think of was that it looked like an awful lot like some kind of water birth. Afterwards, the actor remembers being appalled at himself over the day that they had experienced, not to mention being confused about it all, because how do you even begin to explain an experience like that to another person? The scene traumatized Bailey so badly that he ran from the set the moment he was allowed to, just to get away from the embarrassment he was feeling. It wasn't until much later, when Bailey was at the pub having a pint with some friends, that he felt some chafing. In his panic, he completely forgot to take off his modesty thong, and Bailey still had the little pouch to this day. Stay tuned, you don't want to miss out on the next part of this video. Is the TV series really skipping a book? What are fans hoping the show has learned to ensure an amazing 3rd season? And Nicola Coughlan chats about filming Polin's sex scenes in Bridgerton Season 3. Let's get to it. First up, Season 3 is not going to follow the order of the books. Fans have been a little divided about Netflix's decision to skip ahead in the storyline everything instead of staying true to the order of the books. The series, which has hailed so wholly because of how true to the books it stayed in season 1 in the first place, did take some liberties before, and there must be a reason why they think it's a good idea to skip Benedict Bridgerton for now, right? Still, not everyone is pleased about this change in plans, long-term payoff or no, because there were those amongst us who were really looking forward to seeing Benedict Bridgerton's love life unfold. But instead of that, Bridgerton season 3 will be focusing on Penelope Featherington. Everyone knows she's had a huge crush on Colin Bridgerton, and for a moment there it looked like things were looking up for Penelope, but then we ended with season 2 with Penelope overhearing Colin say that he would never marry her, which is the worst thing you can hear your crush say. It's going to be very interesting to see how they're going to find their way into each other's arms. Something else that will definitely be different from the previous 2 seasons is who will be returning to the show. Creator Chris Van Dusen has stepped down as Bridgerton's showrunner following season 2. Stepping in as showrunner for Bridgerton season 3 and 4 will be Jess Brownell. Next up, things fans hope the show has learned so season 3 can be as fabulous as possible. Even if we have to miss out on Benedict's love story for at least another season, let's hope. There's no reason not to be thrilled that we're getting Penelope's story sooner. However, there are some things that fans really hope the show has learned from the previous 2 seasons, just because everyone would like to have that same feeling that season 1 gave us. And there are 2 very loud reasons why that season was so spectacularly irresistible. For one, it was hailed for its honesty in regard to the books. Adaptations of books often feel they need to edit female storylines, and that's exactly what Bridgerton didn't do for its first season. But season 2 felt like a mild whiplash for lots of reasons. There was an interesting lack of sensual content, even when taking into consideration that the Viscount and Kate are very different characters. What made the show so refreshing, so daring, wasn't really there, and we'd really appreciate if the show manages to restore some semblance of balance for the upcoming and following seasons ahead. Some emphasis on returning characters and their romance would also be delightful. Now, had Reggae Jean Page had not been such an absolute stallion, Hollywood wouldn't have stolen him away, and we're sure this would have happened already. But it doesn't hurt to bring it up anyway. We want to know what happens after the "and they lived happily ever after." And now, Nicola Coughlan chats about filming Polin's sex scenes in Bridgerton season 3. With Penelope's story pushed into season 3, things are about to get very exciting for actress Nicola Coughlan, and not a little scary as well, because season 3 is going to be all about Penelope Featherington, Colin Bridgerton, and their blossoming romance, which has been lovingly dubbed Polin, and Bridgerton wouldn't be Bridgerton without those scenes. And now Nicola Coughlan has opened up about how she feels about the prospects of filming the more steamy scenes. Even if there's not going to be as many as the book gave fans, it's more unlikely there will be no intimate scene than it is that there will be. Coughlan admits that just the fact that she'll be taking on the lead role in the coming season is terrifying, but she's had a lot of time to prepare for it and get used to the idea, since she's known about it for quite a while. In fact, she's known since 2 weeks into filming season 2, and true to her character's alter ego, Lady Whistledown, she's kept it a secret all this time. But when Coughlan finally got the green light to talk about it, she wasn't exactly elated about that. Talking about it makes it real, and she was too scared, which is why the actress has vowed to ask Shondaland for a special family-friendly cut of her steamy scenes. Having read the book, she knows exactly what's coming, and she's not having it. Poor Nicola. And that's it on Bridgerton for now. What do you think makes Bridgerton the success that it is? Let us know in the comments, and thanks for watching.